Folks, hopefully this will be a pretty short video and pretty straightforward. But this week's topic is, working with that document 10 steps for a successful paper. We're going to be working on 4, 5, and 6. You should be done with 1, 2, and 3 at this point. There's some construction noise from my neighbor's house, so hopefully that's not too loud. But I'm trying to keep this short. I'll try and go through things relatively quickly. So far you should have picked a general topic. You should know what your paper is going to be about. You should have found your sources, gone to the library. Your sources should be some combination of primary documents, books, journals, magazines, newspapers, or reliable websites. I have seen a number of people's Works Cited page, and those of you that turned it in on Google Classroom, I have given you feedback. Please, if you've done it, send it to me. I need to be able to give you feedback so that you can improve, and the best way to do that is to use the online tools that you have at your disposal. I know a number of you, there's only 4 of you, so I've seen 3 of them, and I was told that the other person had theirs done as well. So, all right. Then you've written your Works Cited page. You were supposed to do that on Tuesday. You use that EasyBib citation generator and put it together. Should be pretty straightforward. Again, I've seen some of them. So this week, what you should be doing between now and next Tuesday, when you have class next, is the first thing you should do is you should be reading those sources and gathering your quotations. So what I do is I open up a new document that I entitle quotations, and then, whatever the topic of the paper is, and I read. And as I'm reading, whenever I come across something that I think is particularly interesting, that I think I might want to use in my paper, I copy and paste it into that document, or I transcribe it. I write it down if it comes from a book. So you put quotation marks around it. At the end, you need to cite it parenthetically. Generally speaking, you got a parentheses, then the author's last name, and then the page number on which you find it, end parentheses. The period goes outside of the parentheses because the parentheses are part of the sentence. So just put that at the end of your quotation. Then everything is ready for you just to slap that quotation into your paper when it comes time to write your paper. If you have questions about the rules for MLA 9 parenthetical citation, they're in the document. You can click right there. It takes you to a website source where you can find them. If you have questions that you can't answer easily, email me. I'm more than happy to troubleshoot your problems for you and give you whatever advice I can. Speaking of which, I'm also more than willing to open up a Google Meet and meet with anybody and discuss their paper at any point. So after you're done with 4, you've found some quotations. You've read your sources, you've gathered your research, you know what information you have available to write your paper. Then it's time to identify your main points. Generally speaking, you'll have 1 point per body paragraph, and you'll want to organize them into an outline. And then once you've organized them into an outline, you want to add your quotations to the outline. So the outline is what I'm going to be collecting next Tuesday. And there are some people who are sticklers for particular forms of outline. I'm not that guy. Like, if it makes sense to you, if you could use it to organize your thoughts, if you can get your quotations in there, and I know what each of your body paragraphs is going to be about, then that's good. That's really all you need. An outline never gets turned into anybody. It doesn't have to be a particular, it does in this case. I'm going to look at it. But like, when you go off to college, you're not going to have to turn in outlines. When you turn in the paper, nobody looks at the outline that you use to make the paper. They just look at the paper. All of this work is designed to help you think about the writing process, to help you get used to organizing. Let me tell you, I'm a proposal manager now for a national construction company with offices all over the place. And when I have to write a proposal, the first thing I do is I outline it. You have to know where all the bits and pieces fit and what you're going to put where, and that's an important part of understanding the task that you've set for yourself. So that outline is going to be important. So 1 idea per body paragraph, then place your quotations there and go with that. The last thing I'm going to ask you to do this week is to identify your quote-unquote so what element. This goes back to college. One of my best college professors was an English professor, and I still remember on our first essay he had us bring in our thesis statements to him, and he looked at us and looked at the papers or the thesis statements and read them. And he had these glasses and he put them like way down on the end of his nose, and he looked over the glasses at us and he says, "So what?" Like what he's trying to get at is your paper has to do something. Yes, I assigned you a paper to compare and contrast some aspect of the two sides in the Civil War, and you've got to write it, but why does your paper matter? You have to find something interesting, something important about what you've done, and get that into when we write your introduction and your thesis statement and your conclusion. So we've got to identify why your paper matters. How does it impact the future? What outcomes from the topic become important, or what lessons can somebody who is studying this learn or take away from it? That's going to be what we call a so what element. So I'm going to create an assignment and put it in the classroom with this video, but those are the things you should be working on this week. Gathering your quotations, writing them in a document, identifying your main points and turning them into an outline, and putting those quotations underneath the topic headings in your outline. Remember that if this is a 5-paragraph essay, then you have 3 body paragraphs. You can make 3 main points. You want to think about how you're going to organize the paper, what those 3 main points are going to be. Are you going to compare and contrast 3 points with each side? Is each paragraph going to be a compare and contrast of 1 point? Say you're writing about the military and you decide to look at, I don't know, the Army's, the Navy's, and I don't know what the other point would be. Let's say you decide to look at infantry, artillery, and cavalry. And you look at those 3 things. Those could be your 3 points. You could compare and contrast the 2 sides in each paragraph. Some people will decide that, say they're doing culture or something, they'll have a paragraph describing in detail the culture of the Union, and a paragraph describing in detail the culture of the Confederacy, and then their 3rd body paragraph will be the compare and contrast, looking at the ways they're similar and the ways they're different, and why that matters. So like there's a lot of different ways to organize a compare and contrast essay. If you're having trouble, again, reach out to me. I'm happy to have a Google Meet and talk to you about it. Or reach out to, a parent or somebody who can give you advice. You haven't written a lot of papers. Nobody expects you to be perfect at this. This is the first one you're writing for me and for this class. So you're more than welcome to ask. We don't expect anybody to be perfect. The goal is to improve. All right, that's it for this video. Hopefully I'll hear from you all soon. I look forward to see your outlines.